Hi, I'm Kelly. Welcome back to my channel. I finally found my fish marinade footage, so I am going to do a standalone video for making fish marinades that is an add-on to my other homemade marinade videos with chicken and meat. So let's talk about why we make our own homemade marinades. The reason that we make our own homemade marinades is to flavor and season our food in different ways while buying in bulk to save money, but feel like we are having a different type of meal every night. So this year I got a Costco membership. I used to shop at Walmart, but now I shop at Costco and I buy in bulk. When I buy in bulk, I buy chicken, I buy meat, and I buy fish. And then I come home and marinate them differently so that I feel like I'm having a different meal every night. This process and developing this skill set has been a game changer for me for many reasons. Let's talk about those reasons. First, the food budget. I now spend about $150 to $200 a month, and I eat 2 to 3 meals per day, all made from scratch. I made a goal for myself to not eat processed food, not to eat fast food, and reduce as much as possible all the chemicals and toxins in my body by really being aware of what I'm eating, making things homemade, and making them from scratch. My primary diet consists of chicken, fish, and meat, and fruits and vegetables. So I typically will eat a nutrient-dense, protein-packed diet, and that has been great for my skin, hair, nails, and weight management as I've gotten older. I also grow my own herbs and veggies in my hydroponic garden because I live in an apartment in Los Angeles, so I don't have outdoor space, but I was able to figure out how to manage growing my own food in my apartment, and I have a video about that on my channel. I love breads and pastas, but it's not a part of my normal diet. If I'm out to eat, I will indulge, but I don't typically make those things at home anymore. I typically feel better when I don't eat those things. I don't like the inflammation that sometimes it causes within my body, but I don't deny myself. So if I'm out and I want to have it, I will, but now that I don't eat it as much, I don't crave it as much. The same thing applies to sugar. It took me a really long time to break my addiction to sugar because sugar is literally in everything. And if you eat processed foods, you're probably taking in a lot of sugar. So once I was able to break that, and it took about a month, now I don't crave sugar as much and I don't eat sugar as much, but I still will use sweeteners in my marinades. I'll use honey and maple syrup. So let's talk about the formula that you need to make your own homemade marinades. And remember, we make our own homemade marinades so that our food will taste good. We can make different flavors and it feels like we're having a completely different meal, even if we're eating the same 3 to 4 things. Really quickly, I have my salmon done and I put it in my freezer like this so that it freezes. And then I will take it and stack it vertically in my freezer. So as I refill my olive oil, which I will use olive oil or avocado oil in my marinades, let's talk about this formula. All right, you will need some type of oil that will be the base of your marinade. So you just saw me refill my olive oil. You will need aromatics and seasonings, some type of acid, and a sweetener. And this will get you a perfect fish marinade every time. So for all of you pescatarians out there, listen up. I spent 6 years in my 20s being a pescatarian, and I think it really helped me with weight management when I was younger and set the scene for me to be able to maintain a healthier diet as I got older. So now I eat everything, but I'm sharing this with you to provide inspiration if you are looking to live more of a healthy, chemical-free, sugar-free type of life and the benefits that it can have for you. Just basically cleaner eating. So let's start with our oils. You can use avocado oil, olive oil. You can infuse your oils with herbs and use those. Basically any kind of cooking oil. So start there, and then we are going to add on our aromatics and seasonings. I do have a video where I infused my own olive oil, so if you want to check that out, you can use rosemary, shallots, onions, pretty much anything to infuse your oils. You can use fruit, but it will take your cooking oils and kick them up a notch by adding additional flavorings. Here I'm just using regular olive oil. I took this video in 2024 and I'm finally getting it up and posted in 2025. So I will freeze these meals and they will usually last me 3 to 4 months, usually closer to 4 months, but I will take a big trip to Costco, get all of my meat, chicken, and fish, and I will get this done in a couple hours on a Saturday afternoon, and it really just prepares my future self. I work full-time and I'm always busy, so it's nice to have food that's ready to go. You can bake it, grill it, pan-sear it, whatever you want when you pull it out of the freezer, and allow it to defrost in the fridge overnight, and then you pretty much will have a meal in 20 minutes. All right, so your aromatics are your herbs. They're your green plants that smell really good. So it can be rosemary, parsley. I'm trying to just randomly think of aromatics off the top of my head, but pretty much your cilantros, anything that you add to your marinades that have a great aroma, a great smell. And then your seasonings are just your normal seasonings that you would cook with. Go ahead and pull them all out of your cabinet and start different combinations of seasonings to see what you like. But you will take your aromatics and seasonings and you will add it to your oil. And then next we will add our acids. Now you really only need at least one acid, but you can also take 2 different types of acid and combine them together if you choose and create your own flavors. So you need some type of vinegar. It could be apple cider vinegar, red wine vinegar, white wine vinegar. You could use lemon, you could use lime, or a combination of all of these. You can buy infused vinegars or you can make your own. Infusing vinegars is like infusing oils, and I have a video about that. So you can make a fruit flavored vinegar and add it to your marinades. Your imagination is your only limit, but you need something to cut the sweetness that you're going to add by putting in some type of acid. I also want to point out that fresh lime and fresh lemon taste the best to me, but you can also just buy it bottled and use it that way as well. Either one will work. I notice for me when I do the big bulk marinating days, squeezing that much lemon just becomes too much. But if you have helping hands in the kitchen and you're able to use fresh, I highly recommend it. I now just buy a big bottle of lemon and or lime juice. Sometimes I'll combine them, and that's what I'll use in my marinades as well as my flavored vinegars. So as you can see, I will freeze them flat, and then once they are frozen, I will stack them vertically in my freezer, and they don't take up much space. And finally, to cut the acid taste, you're going to need some type of sweetener. Now you can use like a cane sugar sweetener if you choose. You can use brown sugar. I've used brown sugar in the past and it's actually really good. However, I've been trying to minimize the amount of my sugar intake. So now I stick mostly to maple syrup and honey. In this bag, I also have soy sauce, so I wanted to point out that you can use soy sauce, Worcestershire sauces. You can basically use any type of flavoring that you want, and then mix the combinations. Come up with new things, try different things. Take the bag and smell it before you freeze it, and if it's not something that you like, then change it, add to it. I'm a big proponent of trying things as you go along, because once you start gaining that skill set and knowledge, then you'll be able to taste a marinade and determine what does this need to get to where I want to go. And that's when you will, in my opinion, hit like master level of creating your own flavors that only you will know how to make. So to review, you will need your oil, your aromatics and seasonings, an acid, and a sweetener. And you are going to mix up these combinations. If you want to add a little bit of tang, you could always get mustard or use mustard seeds. You could use a little hot sauce if you choose. You get to decide what you want. I don't use a lot of hot sauces because I don't like a lot of spice in my food, but try different combinations, try different things. The more you try, the more you will diversify the type of food you're eating so you don't feel stuck. Here you see me adding jam. I bought like a bacon jam and it was really good, and I was adding that to some of my marinades. I also will use jellies. I told you I don't like to add like just pure sugar, but I will add sweet things to my marinades that can give it a unique taste. So have fun with it. So in this particular marinade, I added my oil and I added my lemon, and now I added some herbs and maple syrup and a bit of soy sauce. And this was some type of jam. I don't remember what I bought, but it was really good. I liked it. And I think I put some garlic in there. And I decided that that's all I wanted in that one. Some of the marinades I keep simple. Some I make a little bit more complicated or add more to it for fun just to see what it'll taste like. But remember, the goal is I don't want to feel like I had something that I ate a couple of days ago. So I try to switch it up as much as I can. When it comes time to eat these, I will pull the bags out usually on Monday, and I'll try to pull out 1 chicken, maybe 2 fish and 2 meats, and then I'll go from there throughout the week. If I decide I want something, I'll pull it out the night before, but I will usually try to eat, 2 to 3 chicken meals, 2 to 3 protein, like packed meat meals, and then fish the rest of the time. If I don't finish something, I'll have it for leftovers. Sometimes I'll take my leftovers and put it on top of a salad the next day at work. So I will typically find a time to eat the food if I don't eat it the night before. But having it prepared and ready to go makes my life so much easier during the week, and it saves a lot of money. I know exactly what's in my food. It's a lot cleaner eating than eating processed food, and it has made a huge difference in my overall health. For anyone interested in making the type of life change of altering your diet and taking a different path of cleaner eating, I hope that this video encourages you and inspires you, shows you how easy it is to do. And once you know the formula, you can honestly create any kind of combinations that you want. It's a lot of fun. And then if you ever have someone over for dinner and they love it, you can just say, oh, I made it myself, and it's not something that you can buy. To me, that's what makes it special. The fact that you can't necessarily buy it like bottled. So as you can see here, I'm going to freeze these flat as well. And then I will put them in my little clear bins vertically, and I can stack up to like 20 meals in each bin. If you've been on my channel for a little while, then you know that I also bring home onions and carrots and bell peppers and all kind of veggies that I pre-chop during this prep process, and I freeze those as well in usually the reusable plastic bags. So when I am preparing my meals, I will usually pull out my veggies as well and pop them all in the oven at the same time, or I'll prepare them separately in different pans on my stovetop. If you are interested in how I ferment and pickle my veggies to make them last longer, and also for health reasons, fermented veggies are so good for your gut, let me know in the comments below and I can show you how I do that. This is just so you're not buying produce and then it goes bad in your fridge. Remember, my meal prep for my proteins will last me for 4 months. So I am still going to the grocery store every few weeks to get fresh produce, but the way that I preserve my produce at home allows me to keep it for a long time as I'm going through my meals. My ultimate goal is to eat well, eat clean, and be very budget friendly in the pocketbook when it comes to how much I'm spending on my food. And I have finally, after years of honing the process, found something that works for me. I'm really happy that I made it to this point because it has allowed me to feel really good about my choices of not only what I'm eating, but how I'm eating. So if you're curious, what do I do with my leftover marinade? Sometimes I have a little bit more marinade left over than other times. What I will usually do is thicken it and create like a nice little sauce for my meals. So my meal plate will usually have my fish, my chicken, or my meat protein on it with like a really nice sauce on top, and then my veggies on the side, whether they're fresh veggies or my fermented veggies or my pickled veggies. And that'll pretty much be my meal. And then I'll have a salad. If I don't have a salad and I choose to have like a starch, like potatoes or rice, then that's what I'll do. I'll mash my potatoes. Please don't buy mashed potatoes. Just buy a potato and mash it. It's so much cheaper, and plus you can make it really nice with your herbs, and you can decide the consistency. If you're buying fries, please don't buy fries. You can cut your own fries out of a potato and pop it in the oven and have really nice oven made home fries that are even better than anything you can buy in a store. So if you want me to show you how to do that, I can. But just remember, anything that you buy prepared from the store, you can probably make it home in just a few more extra minutes. Full transparency, I did not love this fish. I think it was like whiting or something. It was seasoned well, but I never bought it again after this. I just didn't like how it tasted. So, not my favorite, but it still tasted really good with the flavors and marinade that I had with it. But I prefer salmons, and I'll even do a tilapia, but I'll never do this again. I can't believe I said salmons. I meant salmon pieces. When I go to Costco and buy my salmon, they have like one big long piece, and then I cut the portions out myself. So I meant salmon pieces, but I said salmons. So even though I didn't love this fish, I served it over a bed of rice and like some fruit on the side, and it was really good. So it was worth it. It was fine. But when it comes to the texture of the fish, not my favorite. You see me kind of dipping my finger in and tasting it, and I realized it needed a little bit more acid. Again, once you start doing this and tasting it, you're going to be able to say, oh, it needs a little bit of this or a little bit of that. Remember, it's a skill you'll get over time. Just practice, and you will make progress. I always tell my students, practice makes progress, not perfection. There's no such thing as perfect. Practice makes progress. And now I'm gonna marinate my catfish. Now, I don't usually fry food, but catfish pieces will be one of the few things that I may fry at home. I just don't really fry my food as much anymore, but I did finally pull out my red wine vinegar and I started using that. Remember, you gotta mix up the type of acids, the type of sweeteners, and aromatics and seasonings that you use. You could even mix your oils, infuse your oils, play with these ingredients and make it better each time. And I promise it will add a depth of flavor to all of your marinades, and you can add to your meal rotations. I did add some red chili flakes to this, even though I don't like a lot of heat, but it tastes so good with the catfish. And even though I haven't said this, because sometimes I assume that people know, and you should never assume, be sure you add a little bit of salt to all of these. Salt is not necessarily bad for you in moderation, and it really brings out the flavors of everything that you're mixing together. So I have my salt there at the top of the screen. Be sure to add salt. You can even add pepper if you choose. Play with your different combinations and create, create, create. Now, the reason that you didn't see me add salt that time is one, because catfish is already kind of salty, And two, if I'm adding soy sauce, I don't always add additional salt. So these are things you kind of learn along the way as you're learning how to cook and you're learning about the food and tasting it as you go along. There are some things that I don't add salt to just because. Other times I will wait until I'm actually preparing it and maybe add just a little dash of salt to the sauce and not necessarily to the marinade. But as you develop your own preferences and taste, then you can make those decisions for yourself. Do you notice how I'm not giving you recipes? That's for a reason, because I really want you to understand like the formula, the mechanics of cooking, and then you can use what you already have at home to create your meals. Yes, you will need to go out and buy seasonings and aromatics if you don't have them, possibly, but not always. There's no point in going out and buying something for one recipe. That's how you end up with extra ingredients at home that you don't really use again. Start figuring out what you have and learning to cook with what you have, and then picking things up from the store that will fill in those gaps and holes as you need them. But I don't want you to learn with a recipe because I don't want you to be dependent on recipes. I want you to use recipes as inspiration and then add and take away as needed, substitute as needed to make it your own. That's my ultimate goal, and I'm showing you my process for inspiration to encourage you, and so that you know that clean eating and cooking from scratch is not out of your grasp, even if you work one or two jobs like me, and even if you're very busy. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you got any value out of it, I would really appreciate it if you hit that like button and subscribe to my channel because I'd love to have you back. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to pop them down in the comment section below. I love reading comments. Most of all, I hope you feel ready to go buy in bulk to save money, to meal prep your own homemade marinades and meals, and to know that living a clean life is accessible to all of us, no matter your income level or how busy you are. And the best part overall is that you will have peace of mind that you have food that is just about ready at home. So thanks again for watching, and happy homemaking marinades for you and cooking from scratch.